Days of Our Lives, spoilers for the week of July 14 through 18, reveal that Sophia Choi will prepare for her next baby trick, while Holly Jonas and Ariana Ari Horton disappear. Sarah Kyriakis' plan could also backfire, so let's discuss all the dual drama that's brewing. For starters, Sarah knows Xander Kyriakis is ready to play dirty when it comes to the custody feud. That's why Bonnie Kyriakis has encouraged Sarah to play dirty right back. But it won't be easy to outsmart Xander. Sarah may fail to get Philip Kyriakis to change his story when it comes to the attack that nearly killed him. Xander might realize Sarah is making some new moves to try and put him in prison, so her efforts could bring some backlash. In the end, Sarah may make Xander even more convinced that he has to sink to sinister levels to score custody of Victoria Kyriakis. As for Doug Williams III, he may struggle with regrets now that he's hooked up with Ari again. Doug is supposed to be staying away from both Ari and Holly to protect them, but it's too late for that anyway. Days spoilers say Holly and Ari will be targeted by the loan shark goons, so they'll disappear, presumably while they're on this senior lake trip that they've been planning. While Doug gets some kidnapping updates and scrambles to fix this, Sophia will get the green light from Melinda Trask and move ahead with her next baby deception step. Sophia will dupe Tate Black into thinking she gave birth and let the adoptive parents she found take the baby home right away. Days spoilers say Sophia will even lie about the baby's gender, so Tate will get tricked on plenty of levels. Although Tate and Brady Black may be suspicious of Sophia's version of events, Melinda will provide all the necessary documentation to help her sell this fake adoption. Meanwhile, Days spoilers say Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez will continue growing closer to Tesoro as they care for him at the Hernandez house. Of course, Javi and Leo will still have no clue that they're actually looking after Sophia and Tate's baby boy. Things may work out well for Sophia, since Tate will be distracted over Holly and Ari's double abduction news soon. Tate will demand answers from Doug, who'll try to throw him out and launch a physical fight in the process. Days of Our Lives spoilers say the week of July 14 to 18 will bring some disturbing discoveries and angry showdowns, so stay tuned. Marlena's sipping tea, looking introspectively out at Salem when Belle gets home. Marlena says she was waiting for her daughter. Something came up at work, Belle says. Yes, she admits. Important evidence just turned up. And if Johnny's innocent, it could lead them to who did shoot him. The last thing she wants is to prosecute Johnny. Marlena just asks how this will go. EJ will go for the jugular, Belle says, but they both want the same outcome, for Johnny to be found not guilty. Hopefully, it won't even go to trial. Marlena admits it wasn't just waiting for Belle. She also just couldn't sleep. Belle knows her mom's been having trouble sleeping. Yes, she admits, her grief hasn't gone anywhere, even as everyone else has had to move on. No, Belle tells her mom. You're not alone. Belle's right there with her. Marlena decides to try getting some rest, but is unsteady when she stands. A panicked Belle asks what's going on. Is there something you're not telling me? Ari tries sneaking into the pub, telling Roman when he spots her that she was going upstairs to visit great-grandma Kate. She's in bed, Roman says, and Ari tries slipping out. Roman stops her and knows she was there for Doug. Upstairs, Doug's counting his money. He doesn't have enough. What? No, she's not involved with Doug. There's nothing going on. Ari rushes out and stops out front, looking thoughtful, then climbs up the window to see Doug. I had to see you, she says. And no, she tells him annoyed, not to hook up after his hot and cold game. She just wants to know what the hell is going on with him. He can't tell her, but Ari won't let it go, so he sighs. Okay, I had to meet this guy. This guy I owe money to, a lot of money. Doug tells her it's not safe to be around him, but Ari just shrugs it off, tells him she likes bad boys and kisses him. Picking up from yesterday, Gwen's reading Maddie, the Riot Act, when he realizes she's wearing Julie's necklace. He tries convincing her to give it back, and she snaps at him to stop lecturing her after pretending to be her best friend. I hate you with every fiber of my being, Gwen tells him, and promises to make him very sorry. Leo tries apologizing and insisting he's paid for what he did. Gwen's just amused that Dimitri dumped him. He refuses to divorce her, though, which is fine. She's got his fortune. Well, he's got love with Javi, so he doesn't need money. Javi just watches the whole thing, confused, until Gwen strokes his face, calls him a poor, poor little baby, and tells him he doesn't know what he's gotten himself into. She leaves, and Javi demands to know what it's about. Leo fills him in off-screen, and when we return, Javi's processing Leo's cheating ways with Dimitri. "I didn't think you could be disloyal to a friend," Javi flatly tells Leo. He doesn't think he knows Leo as well as he thought. Leo will never forgive himself for what he did to Gwen. Maybe she's right that he needs to pay. Maybe it even includes losing Javi. Javi dials back the anger, saying he's made mistakes too. "Everyone has regrets, secrets." He whispers something in Leo's ear, which gets a shocked, "You did not," in reply. Javi reassures Leo that there are some things he'd never change. They get back over to the baby, and Javi admits he can imagine the two of them having a real family someday. Leo's a natural dad, but Leo doesn't think he'd be up for it after his horrible parents. Xander's drinking alone at the bistro, thinking back to the romantic 4th of July he and Sarah spent at the apartment with Victoria. He orders another drink when Gwen walks over and says he should make that too. She takes a seat in front of a stunned Xander. She heard about Sarah and offers her condolences, which also surprises Xander. She wasn't their biggest fan, but they're married and have a daughter. She thought it would stick this time. Gwen sighs and admits their love drove her crazy when they were together, and her own insecurity may have driven him away and pushed her to go along with Kristen when she kidnapped Sarah. She never believed she could stand up against his love for Sarah. Xander just listens silently while she talks, wondering what would have happened if she'd just told him the truth. "I don't suppose. You ever think what if?" "No," he says. "Never." Gwen throws back a drink and says it's constantly on her mind about them. Xander takes a sip of his drink and notes her new bling around Gwen's neck. And why not, now that she's filthy rich? They toast to her, pulling one over on Dimitri, and Gwen notes that Xander's rich enough to buy and sell the town himself. They both agree that it's so nice to never worry about money again. Gwen offers to buy another round. Then Xander can walk her to her room at the Salem Inn. "The gentleman always buys," he counters to Gwen's grin. They stumble into the square, where he tells an apparently hilarious story. They laugh it up. Then Gwen tells him he's the one who got away. She's a bit tipsy, she admits, and Xander asks if she thinks there's a chance for them. Gwen stammers a bit, then kisses him. Sarah's morosely scrolling through pictures of her and Xander on her phone when Bonnie walks in, left hand bandaged. "Pantyhose should come with a warning label," she cracks and makes a drink. She notes Sarah looking through her phone and tells her that looking through pics of her and Xander won't help. "Do you want to talk about it?" Sarah fills her in on her run-in with Xander and how poorly it went. "Time heals all," Bonnie promises, but in the meantime, good riddance to bad trash. Sarah's surprised Bonnie's happy to rid of Xander. Bonnie had warmed to him, but that changed after what he did to Philip. Sarah admits she still loves Xander, though she wishes she didn't. Bonnie tells Sarah about how much she loved her first husband, even having 3 kids with him, except when he beat her senseless while drunk. But then he'd apologize, and they'd go on like that forever, right up until Mimi killed her father. Not that she thinks Victoria has violence in her genes, but Sarah doesn't want to raise her around that. Not for one. Single. Second, Sarah assures Bonnie that their situation is different. Xander would never lay a finger on her or Victoria. "No," Bonnie tells her, "only on other people. Like her. They're both better with Xander gone." "Well, they both have to work together for Victoria," Sarah says. But after what just happened, she doesn't know how things will go. "Fight fire with fire," Bonnie says. "Xander's going to fight dirty." Marlena assures Belle that Sarah checked her out and she's okay. "All right," Belle says, "but maybe her mom can try sleeping on the couch since it's not her bed. She'll even sit with her while Marlena falls asleep." "I would like that," Marlena smiles. Sarah asks how to fight dirty, and Bonnie assures her she came to the right place. She offers some ideas like bankrupting Titan, hiring a hooker, or pinning Philip's beating on him. They know he did it. If he's in jail, her problems vanish. Sarah has no clue how to get him to confess, though. Javi tells Leo any child would be lucky to have him as a dad. Across the square, Xander pulls back from the kiss, saying he should go. Yup. To my room, Gwen says, and pulls him after her. Leo and Javi watch them go, shocked. We'll admit, before Shane stuck Kat with Rafe on Days of Our Lives and tasked them with finding out what EJ is really up to and who's funding him, we never suspected his hospital bid was anything but on the level. We should have, but since his near-death experience, EJ has truly seemed to be trying to be a better person. He's slipping back into his snarky, less than altruistic ways, sure. But that didn't mean he was up to anything shadier than making a name for himself as Salem's hospital savior. But as Shane pointed out, he had to get the funding for the hospital buyout from somewhere, especially if he was making an offer that could stand up to the combined Titan-Dimera resources. Still, we didn't really think too much on who might have teamed up with him until Gwen came back to Salem to tie up some loose ends. After all, she's recently come into a very sizable fortune, having wrested the von Lochner money from her jailbird hubby Dimitri. And the timing of her return, hot on the heels of EJ's hospital purchase, is awfully suspicious. We know EJ and Gwen don't exactly love each other, but they are kind of in-laws and could probably bond over hating Dimitri. Plus, they're both practical enough to work with someone they find distasteful towards a mutual goal, and perhaps towards mutual profit. We know from spoilers that Tony's about to give EJ a warning about something, maybe working with someone as duplicitous as Gwen? And while Gwen's talk and subsequent hotel romp with Xander on Wednesday was actually kind of touching as she opened up and admitted that he's the one who got away, we can't help wondering if it's truly sincere. She did swear him off after being burned a few too many times by always being his second choice after Sarah. So what changed now? That's where we can't help but wonder if she's playing him as part of a deal with EJ to break up Titan and Dimera once more. We'll admit we can't quite figure out all the angles in this, but if everything was blindingly obvious, there'd be no mystery to solve here. And you know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Days of Our Lives spoilers tease that there's a good chance that Leo Stark and Javi Hernandez could adopt baby Tesoro. After all, the men are bonding quite quickly with the little one, and all arrows are pointing to the idea that it'll be very hard for them to give the child up when all is said and done. This is the land of Salem, where irony rules the roost. So could Sophia Choi end up becoming Tesoro's babysitter? Sophia works at the bistro, but as she needs money for college, perhaps Sophia decides to pull double duty by working at the restaurant and babysitting too? She'll have to take time off in the later weeks of her pregnancy and healing after birth, so she may need the extra money. Rachel Boyd, Sophia's portrayer, stated that Sophia would become fiercely protective over her baby, like a mama bear. But how could she do this unless she was somehow in the baby's orbit? Both Leo and Javi work, and while Leo has borne the brunt of most of the baby caretaking activities and can likely take Tesoro to work now and again, the two dads will need a babysitter for things like date night and other work commitments. This may be where Sophia steps in. In spending time taking care of her son, will Sophia bond with Tesoro? Will she wish she could go back on giving him up? The Days of Our Lives summer preview shows Sophia digging into her inner Sammy Brady by attempting to break up Tate Black and Holly Jonas. However, this doesn't mean that she won't share tender moments with her son and maybe have second thoughts on his adoption. But will it be too late? Could Sophia become Tesoro's babysitter? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Tune into the new Peacock soap regularly for all the drama, and check out this site often for the best Days of Our Lives news, updates, and spoilers. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, July 9th indicate some dramatic moments in Salem. Two exes reconnect, while someone pushes a friend away and another character trauma dumps. What's set to go down on Wednesday? Time to find out. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday, July 9th tease that Xander Kyriakis will connect with Gwen Rizchek. So could this mean bad news for any reunion hopes between him and Sarah Horton Kyriakis? Not that he and Sarah are on the same page whatsoever, as the two continuously argue whenever they try to iron out custody for Victoria Kyriakis. Still, Will Gwen and Xander feel sparks upon catching up? Only time will tell. Across town, Doug Williams III will keep Allison Horton at arm's length. As she tries to get closer, he'll attempt to push her away. However, he's not doing it to be a jerk, but rather, he's aiming to protect her. After all, the thugs who have been after him have threatened her safety, along with Holly Jonas's, so Doug is hoping to avoid any issues. With that said, it doesn't sound like Ari will get the hint, which will ultimately place her in danger as she and Holly are set to get kidnapped at some point this summer. In other news, Days of Our Lives spoilers for Wednesday state that Leo Stark will trauma dump on Javi Hernandez when he talks about his past. As the two are taking care of the newborn boy that was left at the fire station, aka Sophia Choi's baby, will Leo tell Javi about his terrible childhood? Lastly, Belle Black will be worried about Marlena Evans, and considering the fact that her mom is still mourning the loss of her soulmate, John Black, she has every right to be a little off. Still, where exactly is this storyline headed? Days of Our Lives spoilers suggest the land of Salem wouldn't be the same without its beloved mayor, Paulina Price, played by Jackie Harry. With that said, Ms. Harry will be a very busy bee pulling double duty as she'll appear on both Duel, the Netflix comedy hit, A Man on the Inside. More details below. Before Harry dominated the world of soaps, she was in TV comedy series like Sister, Sister, and 227. Now, she'll appear in a guest role on A Man on the Inside, starring Ted Danson. According to Deadline, Harry will be a part of Season 2, and while the character she's playing is being kept a secret, the report reveals Harry could possibly return to the show if it is renewed for Season 3. There's also no information on how many episodes Harry will participate in for Season 2. Danson plays a retired professor named Charles Neuendick, with a new lease on life when he answers an ad and becomes a mole in a secret investigation. In Season 1, the character went undercover in an assisted living facility to gather information on a crime, and during Season 2, he'll do more of the same at a liberal arts college. Meanwhile, the drama hasn't stopped for Paulina in Salem, who's currently in a fight with her daughter, Chanel DiMera. Chanel isn't too pleased with Mom allowing her husband, Johnny DiMera, to get arrested by the Salem PD for a crime he didn't commit, shooting his own dad, E.J. DiMera. But Paulina was also worried her constituents would call her out on favoritism if she didn't. Paulina and Chanel have a way of fighting and then coming back together, so here's hoping the mother-daughter duo won't be upset at each other for too long. Are you excited about Jackie Harry on Netflix? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Tune into the new Peacock soap regularly for all the drama, and check out this site often for the best Days of Our Lives, news updates, and spoilers. In the Wednesday, July 9th episode of Days of Our Lives, Gwen chose the bitter vow of revenge route with Leo. As expected. Then she reconnected with Xander. They sealed their reunion with a kiss, maybe more. Simultaneously, Bonnie schooled Sarah on what her next steps in this burgeoning custody war should be. Gwen and Xander 1.0 ended in disaster. With everything that she did to Sarah, you'd think that Xander would hold a grudge. But he's currently on the outs with his wife and isn't handling her lies about Philip's forged letter that well. Plus, he is gearing up for a custody battle over Victoria. So his current mindset is anti-Sarah, which means he's ready to let Gwen back into his life. Gwen and Xander take the conversation to the bistro, and they reflect on how they are both different from the way they were back then. For example, they're both wildly rich thanks to Gwen wresting the von Leuschner fortune away from Dimitri. Meanwhile, Xander came into his own when he found out he was Victor's son. Now, Gwen can buy extravagant necklaces, and Xander no longer needs to hole up at Fleabag motels. After the two get more than tipsy, Xander walks Gwen back to the Salem Inn. Before going in, however, they shared a kiss. Gwen really messed up with Xander back in the day. Some of her crimes were against Sarah. Remember that mind-altering drug she slipped her? Well, we're guessing Xander wasn't thinking about Sarah when he and Gwen entered the Salem Inn for whatever. Bonnie popped up out of nowhere to give Sarah her 2 cents about what to do with Victoria's custody. As far as she was concerned, Victoria was better without Xander in their lives. After Sarah admits to things going badly during her latest conversation with Xander, Bonnie has a suggestion. Her words of advice aren't for the faint of heart. Bonnie thinks that she needs to get Philip to confess that Xander brutally beat him within an inch of his life. That way, Xander gets arrested, and he's no longer a problem. And Sarah's contemplating this mission. Will she ultimately choose to accept it? What are your thoughts on Xander, Gwen, and Sarah? How twisted will this trio get? Also, how worried are you about Marlena? Let us know in the comments. Fans are always thrilled when Sammy returns to Salem on Days of Our Lives. When her portrayer, Allison Sweeney, isn't busy with another project, like working on her latest Hallmark film, she pops back into Salem and is expected to return soon to pay her respects to the fallen John Black. But in and around all of that, she still finds time to share personal news with her fans, and recently posted about a new project that also involves some of her family members. On the wildly popular Fox show, Lego Masters Jr., fans form teams and compete to be crowned the country's most talented amateur Lego builders. The winning team receives a trophy, an incredible $100,000, and is added to the LEGO Masters Hall of Fame. On the show's official Instagram page, the latest teams were announced with the caption, "Small Builders, Larger-than-Life Creations. Meet our star-studded LEGO Masters Jr. teams, coming to @Fox TV this August." Among the team photos was one of Sweeney and two young boys, and the actress shared that pic, writing, "Cannot tell you how much fun it was getting to help these brilliant Lego brothers go after their dreams one Lego brick at a time. I'm really a runner and assistant to these clever kids on the special event series. The challenges were so fun. I felt like a kid again." Shadow Lego Masters. JHR Fox, premiering August 18th on @Fox TV and streaming on @Hulu. She also shared a poster advertising the Kelly Osbourne-hosted show. The fans were thrilled as one gushed, "OMG, I want to play Allie Sweeney. You are making the world a better place to live. What a blessing you are." Another wrote, "We have a little relatives who will love this." The show itself excitedly responded, "Let's do this." One follower shared the sentiment of all the people reacting with the reply, "I can't wait to see this." Whatever Sweeney and her young partners are tasked with making, we'll be watching. Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, July 10th, suggest that the battle between Xander and Philip is far from over, as the two foes nearly come to blows. Yet again. Sarah tried to trick Xander into confessing that he's the one who beat Philip into a coma. Xander figured it out pretty quickly and stormed out of the restaurant, mumbling about sole custody of Victoria. But did he head home to continue putting the finishing touches on his Father of the Year act? Nope. As soon as he could, Xander was back in Philip's face. These two never learn, do they? Johnny insists he didn't shoot his father, and Chanel believes him. She keeps telling him she believes him. She keeps telling him so often that we have to wonder, who is she really trying to convince, Johnny or herself? EJ, for his part, says that he believes Johnny too, and he'll even defend him in court over it. But EJ has other problems. Tony is back in Salem, and he doesn't like how EJ is running their father's company. He warns Elvis Jr. that Tony may just have to take over, unless, with both EJ and Johnny insisting that the son didn't shoot the father, Jada and Belle are almost forced to do their jobs and figure out who did. They could do some detective work, or they could continue to make wild guesses and then see which pieces of evidence fit into their theory. And who shot EJ isn't even the only crime on their plates. There's also Julie's stolen necklace. So when the two make a shocking discovery, we can only guess at what secrets they'll discover now. Got a red-hot theory about your favorite soap storyline? Email news@soaphub.com. Yours could be our next hot topic. Days of Our Lives spoilers photos for the July 10th, 2025 episode tease a decision that may end Zara for good. Mo that Gwen is back in town. There's no telling what Salem shenanigans she'll stir up. First, JJ will be on the case now that Gwen was revealed to have Julie's necklace. He'll most likely get it back for the Salem matriarch, but that may become the least of Gwen's problems. Later, a visit from Xander will turn into so much for the former couple. Does this confirm it's the end of Zara for good? Here are your Days of Our Lives spoilers for Thursday, July 10th, 2025. Belle and Jada have their work cut out for them with the EJ shooting case. Jada hated having to arrest Johnny, but Belle hates having to prosecute him even more. After all, he is her nephew, and she is sure he is innocent. Belle hopes the case never has to go to trial, so she and Jada get to work in an effort to uncover as much evidence as possible. With that memory card now in her possession, Belle might be able to see just what happened that night. But there is a lot to view. When Jada and Belle make a stunning discovery, do they delve as deeply into the memory card as possible and see Johnny with a gun? There is a lot more to the story than meets the eye. So do they also see EJ take the gun out of Johnny's hand? Would that prove that Johnny didn't return later to finish the job? Perhaps they see someone else in the shadows who could offer some insight into what really happened. Does Ava Vitale make an appearance in the video? Meanwhile, EJ thinks he has it all under control and will be able to save his son with his own cunning plan. He tells Tony that Johnny might be their secret weapon, but Tony doesn't like his brother's plan at all. Tony warns EJ not to play with fire and risk his son's freedom by always thinking he has the upper hand. Does EJ tell him that he had the memory card sent to Belle? Tony might caution EJ that it isn't the evidence they need to clear Johnny. As for Johnny, he feels things are going from bad to worse as the walls close in on him. Chanel is there to offer comfort and support to her husband, but there might be nothing she can say to get Johnny out of a funk. Plus, Johnny is afraid that his father might be up to no good. Welcome to the Days of Our Lives Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. It's been a while since Days of Our Lives treated us to Bonnie's truths. She may have kept a lot of secrets in her time, but Bonnie is also a blunt truth teller who doesn't mince words. The last time we saw Bonnie, she almost died from injuries due to the mess that was body and soul. When she appeared in the Kiriakis' living room on July 9th, we forgot she even lived there, but she got down to business quickly. First, she nosed into what Sarah was looking at on her phone. When she learned Sarah was staring at pics of Xander, she told her very real truth as days leaned into history. Bonnie spent decades with a violent man after having 3 children with him. She thought her love could save him, just as Sarah had always thought that her love could save Xander. Bonnie made her see that sometimes loving a flawed man isn't enough, and there is often nothing one can do to save them. Just as Bonnie made Sarah see one reality about Xander, the audience saw another. Xander is on a self-destructive path now and is ready to take up with Gwen again. After drinking way too much at the bistro, they took things back to the Salem Inn. This will be one more strike against Xander, proving to Sarah that Bonnie has a point. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full duel recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not, seriously, do not forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Days of Our Lives spoilers for July 14th-18th, 2025 see Kristen DeMera being accused and Sophia Choi scrambling. And as we always do on Early Edition Day, we talk about what's coming the rest of this week to set the stage for those next week early spoilers. On Wednesday, July 9th, Gwen Rischek kisses Xander Cook at the Salem Inn, and Gwen Rischek may want more than that. But Xander is more concerned about winning custody of little Victoria, and while he is still married to Sarah Horton, hopping in bed with greedy Gwen is not going to help his case, and he's probably smart enough to realize that. Plus, he loves Sarah. We know he does. Javi Hernandez learns more about Leo Stark's past. Remember, Gwen called him Maddie, and Leo quickly said his real name was Matthew Cooper, and said he would tell him more later. And of course, his abusive mom, Diana Colville, gave him the worst mommy issues, and he had daddy issues too. Counseling with Marlena Evans has helped him a lot. So, I just wonder if Leo is going to unpack some of his emotional baggage and tell Javi that he slept with his best friend Gwen's husband and broke her heart. Ari is headed over to the pub, but Doug Williams' debt collector, Goon, is right there stalking her. Good thing Caleb Brady runs into her, and the goons got to try again later. Ari heads upstairs, but is frustrated by Doug's resistance. Ari is in Doug's bedroom and gets a kiss, but then he taps the brakes and he is pushing Ari away to protect her. But the goons already have her on their radar, so Doug is not the brightest bulb in this shed. Let's just say that because it's too little too late. Marlena's dizzy spell and near collapse freaks out Belle Black, and I wonder if Marlena is keeping something from her. Now, we did hear her talking to Sarah and all her tests and everything look fine, but there may be symptoms that, as a doctor, Marlena knows she's having that don't show up on that test. She could be suffering from some kind of, medical manifestation of a broken heart over losing John Black, or there could be some underlying serious medical condition. Belle Snape-D is very worried, and Marlena is going to start having some weird dreams soon. On Thursday, July 10th, Tony DiMera and EJ DiMera discussed Johnny DiMera as a possible new CEO for DiMera Enterprises. EJ is obviously confident that those pesky attempted murder charges will be gone, and he'll be, all clean as a whistle again. Tony DiMera wants to take the company back from Titan, and he wants to make it legit. Of course, we know EJ doesn't like things that are legit. This whole plan hinges on Johnny getting cleared, and soon enough, Tony is conspiring with Gabby Hernandez, and EJ is conspiring with Gwen. The SD card reveals a big surprise for Belle and Jada Hunter. And again, we're back to who the heck sent it to them because EJ was the one that had it. So, did he send it for some reason? And what they see could lead Belle and Jada down a whole new rabbit hole. So, we'll see if it shows Johnny giving the gun to EJ, because I don't think we've seen all of what's on the memory card before EJ pulled it out of the camera that night. So, maybe they see little Rachel Black lurking in the shadows behind the door. Very few people seem to think Johnny is capable of this. And yet, we're continuing on with these charges. Philip and Xander argue about the direction they want for Titan. Of course, he is still kind of leery about Xander after the beating, but he's not going to walk away, and he's not going to rat out his brother. Philip has too much skin in the game, and his silence buys him a lot of power over Xander. Chanel Dupree and EJ rally around Johnny DiMera. Of course, they know he's innocent, even though at one time EJ thought Johnny shot him. So, it looks like he may actually accuse Kristen, who was an initial suspect, if you remember. Sources indicate she will wind up going to prison for this to protect Rachel once the awful truth comes out. On Friday, July 11th, Johnny gets an update from Madame Mayor Paulina Price. Recently, Belle was reinstated as DA on the case. And EJ has settled everything. He's accepting that he gets to be the defense attorney. The judge wants the district attorney, not her assistant, because this is such a high-profile case, with Johnny trying to kill noted infamous citizen EJ. So, Paulina may tell all this to Johnny so he's not taken off guard. And I do wonder if Paulina might tell him what's on the video card, because I'm expecting Jada and Belle to tell the mayor. Meanwhile, Belle Black gets caught up in EJ's manipulations. However, Belle may manipulate EJ right back. This can't be good for their budding relationship, and I wonder if Belle will call things quit short-term while the trial is going on, because it's such a bizarre conflict of interest, even though she is allowed to try the case. The defendant's her nephew. The victim is her boyfriend, EJ, who is also Johnny's defense attorney. It's insanely messy. Chanel gets interrogated by Jada. Now, they may be asking her about Johnny's whereabouts the night that EJ was shot. Chanel could offer an alibi or not, but I just wonder if the Day of Our Lives writers remember that spousal privilege is very important. It means that Chanel does not have to answer any questions about Johnny or testify against her husband no matter what. That's what spousal privilege is. Maggie Horton-Kyriakis and Xander are back to arguing. She probably won't like to hear that Gwen is back. And sniffing around him. And of course, Maggie is still blaming Xander for breaking Sarah's heart, and now trying to snatch away sole custody. And I wonder if Xander gave Sarah an idea about getting a confession on tape, because remember when they were talking at the bistro, Xander got mad. He thought Sarah was recording him when she asked him to just admit that he beat his brother. So maybe Sarah will actually record it when she comes at Philip demanding he tell the truth. But I don't think he's going to give up any of that. The week of July 14th through the 18th, Sophia and DA Melinda Trask are trying to cover their tracks with the baby dump. And Sophia is going to mail a letter for her son to the Salem Fire Department that Jov's going to bring home for the baby to keep. Trask could wind up facing disbarment if her lie and these forged documents she's doing are discovered. This is a lot like when she was conspiring with Sloane Peterson to steal Nicole Walker and Eric Brady's baby. But at least she knows how to do it, and she knows the mistakes she made last time. So maybe she's the perfect person to do it, right? Marlena is still not feeling well next week, and at some point soon, she's going to land in the hospital for a bit as these dreams and possible hallucinations start plaguing her. Kristen may be accused of shooting EJ formally. This is all part of his plan to save Johnny. And soon, Sarah and Marlena are going to find out that Rachel is sitting on more info about the shooting that's critical to this trial. But neither Sarah nor Marlena are going to come forward with it. It seems Holly, Jonas, and Ari need to team up to survive their kidnapper, because Doug couldn't pay his loan shark in a timely fashion. The bad guys look like they're going to snatch both girls while they're off at senior camp week. Tate rages at Doug when he realizes what happened, and it seems like someone's going to have to bail Doug out and pay that debt so the girls don't pay with their lives.